today on 15 on 15.
The U.S. Department of Justice signs an MOU with Aruba to fight crime in the Dutch Caribbean. Plus, Xander Bogaerts is on his best hitting streak yet. And local poet Roosevelt Elis heads to New York City. Thank you for joining us on another edition of 15 on 15 right here on Channel 15 ATV with Daniela Piazzi. Let's get started with our latest local news topics. This week, a memorandum of understanding has been signed between the U.S. Department of Justice and the Kingdom of the Netherlands to work together to fight against organized crime and terrorism in the Dutch Caribbean region. Aruba's Minister of Justice, Arthur Douwers, was present in The Hague, Netherlands to sign this agreement. On Thursday afternoon, the Attorney General of the United States of America, the Minister of Security and Justice of the Netherlands, the Minister of Justice of Aruba, the Minister of Justice of Curacao, and the Minister of Justice of St. Martin signed a memorandum of understanding regarding the enhancement of existing cooperation and strengthening of law enforcement and the criminal justice system in the Caribbean parts of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The participants intend to maximize their cooperation in the joint fight against transnational organized and serious crime and terrorism in the promotion of rule of law in the Caribbean regions. Strengthening of law enforcement and criminal justice system will structurally facilitate and increase effort to fight transnational organized and serious crime of terrorism. It is the goal of this MOU to stimulate joint activities and enhance sharing of information in the area of criminal investigation and upholding public order and security, to strengthen mutual cooperation in the areas of forensics and the organizational of the criminal justice system. These efforts extend to Aruba, Curacao, St. Martin, and including the islands Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba. In other news, today, Aruba's Prime Minister Mike Eman landed in Havana, Cuba for the Associations of Caribbean States Summit. The Association of Caribbean States began this week its 7th summit to discuss the region's challenges in a scenario of economic crisis and threats to the peace, democracy, and stability. Cuba, which holds the presidency of ACS during the next year, will host the summit until June 4th with the participation of its 25 members. The summit will also debate the impact of climate change, particularly for small island nations of the Caribbean, and threat it poses for some of the member countries. Aside from Aruba's Prime Minister Mike Eman, Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, Colombia's Juan Manuel Santos, Panama's Juan Carlos Varela, Costa Rica's Luis Guillermo Solis, most of the Caribbean nations' leaders, and the host, Cuba's President Raul Castro, will participate in this meeting. Moving forward, this week, Aruba's Minister of Culture, Otmar Odeberg, officially received the Guide to How to Manage the Island's Various Monuments. For decades now, there has been confusion surrounding the rules and regulations of each monument on the island, and a lack of information regarding the importance and worth of local monuments. It is still unclear which buildings are officially protected by the Aruba Monument Fund and which are not. Therefore, the Minister of Culture, Otmar Odeberg, requested that all of these guidelines be put together in a book, together with experts from Curacao and Bonaire, to create a regulation and transparency regarding the process to run these local sites. All historical buildings on the island have been categorized in the book in 2 sections, A and B. A buildings are very valuable and B buildings are of lower value. Stakeholders such as construction companies will now be able to have a guide of what is permitted and what is not possible situation on renovations of these buildings. The ministry states that currently there are several private homeowners that don't even know that their homes are categorized as monuments. Therefore, this book should be bringing clarity amongst the community. We'll be back with more 15 on 15 after a quick commercial break. After the break, find out why the Aruban community is going wild for Xander Bogaerts. Thank you for staying with us right here on Channel 15 ATV with Daniela Piazzi. During the Boston Red Sox game on Thursday night against the Baltimore Orioles, social media pages on the island went wild as one of the island's own, Xander Bogaerts, extended his career-best hitting streak yet again. The Aruban Boston Red Sox shortstop Xander Bogaerts extended his career-high hitting streak to 26 games with a 2-run double in the 6th inning of Thursday night's game against the Baltimore Orioles. The 26-game streak is the second longest in the major this season, behind the 29-game run of teammate Jackie Bradley Jr. This is what he had to say about his strategy leading into the game.
I know each day that I got it. I wake up, I know I have it. I come to the field, I know I have it. Probably my first couple of bats, you're not really trying to put pressure on yourself, but as the game goes on, third, fourth at bat, you know your time is running out. So just try to focus a little bit more and try to put up a good at bat and see what happens. I definitely know I have it.
Huge relief after you get that hit?
For sure. It's a bit pressure. It's a bit pressure. You have a lot of people pulling for you, wanting to see you get that hit, and obviously just the big leagues, it's not easy to get any type of hits. So you'll take anything like that. You can get any type of hit, infield hit, anything when you have a streak like that.
Moving forward, on June 23rd, the world will be celebrating Olympic Day. On this day, Olympic committees around the globe will be organizing special events to commemorate it. In Aruba, our local committee dedicates the event to our local youth. Olympic Day is a celebration for youth around the world to observe the Olympic values of excellence, friendship, and respect. It is also a celebration of the Olympic Day pillars: move, learn, and discover. Considering the fact that 2016 is an Olympic year and it will be held for the first time in South American continent, the local Olympic Committee has introduced a new concept to commemorate this occasion. In hopes of motivating the island's youth, the plan is to bring Olympic information to them in a very unique way. Ibiza, together with the Aruban Olympic Committee, will be touring all grade schools on the island with the Olympic torch. During this informational session, current and former Olympic athletes will share their stories of discipline and dedication to the island's youngsters. We will be back with more 15 on 15 after a quick commercial break. When we come back from the break, Rosabel Elis announced her next stop on her title book tour. Thank you for staying with us right here on Channel 15 ATV. Local writer and poet Rosabel Elis has been quite active lately on her book tour throughout the Caribbean region. Recently, she has been in Bogota, Colombia, St. Martin, Grenada, Curacao, and Aruba presenting her latest work. Now the writer will be taking a new leap as she travels to New York City for her next venture. 28-year-old Rosabel Elis is a poet, writer, and performer from Aruba. She has also become known on the island for her unique artistic and musical talents. Over the past couple of months, Rosabel has been quite active promoting her latest English language book named Tidal, and her latest collaboration is leading her to the Big Apple.
Yes, I've been invited by New York-based poet Leon Labastide. He's from Guyana, and he has invited me. We've collaborated via internet, basically, just looking at each other's videos, and I admire his work and he admires mine. So he invited me to come over to New York and join him in a tour. He called it the Trilogy Tour, with stops in Brooklyn, Aruba, and Curacao. So from the 2nd of June to the 8th of June, I will be in Brooklyn, different open mic nights, collaborating with different poets over there, so I'm very excited about that. The main event is going to be on June 5th, and this event is called, it's part of the Trilogy Tour, Open Mic Night. It's at Oxford Space.
This new tour she calls the Trilogy Tour will be bringing Rosabel's work to a whole new audience.
This is the first time that I'll be in the States, basically. Of course, I visited the States before, but this is the first time that I've been invited to introduce my work there, and starting with a city like New York, that's just, I don't know, I can't ask for anything else. I think that in the past, coming from Colombia, recently in Bogota, at the International Book Fair there, that was an awesome experience to be able to represent Aruba there. And then in the past, in St. Martin as well, I've introduced my work in Grenada, Curacao, Bonaire, and Holland as well. So being there internationally is always a different environment, a different vibe, and you get to know a lot of people, collaborate with different poets. So for me, New York, it's a new scene for me, and the poets, I know that they're on a very high level, so I'm super excited to learn from them as well and introduce my latest book, which is in English, and which also has short stories as well. So I look forward to experimenting, taking a look at what the feedback is, what the response is over there, and hopefully from this experience I can get to other cities in the States as well.
Her latest book, named Title, is a collection of short stories, poems, and thoughts published in 2016. Next to her own publications, she continues to collaborate with artists, companies, and organizations creating content-based pieces, performances, and projects.
I'm excited to host him here in Aruba, where I will be organizing different open mic nights so that he can come and see the scene here, going to schools here as well, anything that I, from my end, can organize so that he can get exposed to the poetry and literature scene on the island, and then we'll be collaborating with a poet from Curacao, and then going to Curacao where that poet will organize all of the things that we'll be doing there. So connecting these two islands with this major city, I think it's just something awesome, and I'm just excited to get over there and collaborate with them.
Thank you so much for watching. These were your local news updates and trending Aruba topics. Be sure to like our 15 on 15 Facebook and Instagram page for all of your latest news updates. Also, don't forget to tune back in Monday night at 7:15 p.m. for more 15 on 15 right here on Channel 15 TV. See you then.